Why do all movie posters look the same? Have you ever been standing with your popcorn and wondering which theater in the multiplex actually matches your ticket? Well, that's likely because as creative as the movie posters these represent are, major studios have a huge financial interest in making sure you actually go see the films. Hollywood is still a business, people. They focus group just like they would for any other product, and posters are designed specifically so you know what to see and what you're getting. That's movie marketing 101. Marketing a movie is sometimes as or more important than the movie itself. Hollywood is a big business with global box office revenue reaching a record $42.5 billion in 2019.
Oh my God! Wow!
But this huge figure doesn't mean that all movies are moneymakers. In fact, many movies end up being losing bets. The average cost to produce a major studio movie is around $65 million. But production costs don't cover distribution and marketing, which adds, on average, another $35 million or so, which brings the total cost to produce and market a major motion picture to around $100 million. With that much Skrilla being thrown around, studios don't really like to play with their paper, if you know what I'm saying. That's why they want you to know just from the poster the major points that will psychologically tell people what a movie is about. Take action movies, for example. The idea behind action movies is conflict, which they want represented immediately with contrasting colors. Two you are for sure going to see are blue and orange. Think the Bourne Identity, The Dark Knight, Iron Man, Wonder Woman, Blade Runner 2049, and I can't just go listing movies for this whole thing, right? But I totally could. The reason you always see these contrasting colors is because they are at the opposite end of the color wheel from each other and match conflicting themes we see in nature, like fire versus water and dusk versus dawn. You almost always see these represented in the color grading inside the movie themselves. Orange fire and explosions and action scenes, and serious technology or drama in moody blue scenes. It tells you what you're gonna get, so you know you're gonna make it a 2-popcorn evening. Don't believe me? Well, how about black and white contrast with a little orange exposition to pop? Look at the Expendables, The Transporter, Fast and the Furious. It could go on. If you've got Jason Statham in your franchise, you're probably getting a black and white poster. Modern era Nick Cage too. Hey, everybody knows Cage is fire, so let's contrast, baby! It doesn't have to be just action either. Think of a man and woman standing back to back on a white background. Remember Pretty Woman? Well, while that might be the rom-com grandmammy of them all, what about Intolerable Cruelty, Four Christmases, The Ugly Truth, My Girl, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days? Actually, pretty much the whole Matthew McConaughey rom-com lineup. Two characters standing back to back shows the complicated love story that is bound to happen between the main characters. The white or empty backgrounds use negative space to draw people to the characters in the poster. The bare bones canvas brings our attention to the will they, won't they between the actors. That's the point. This is a business decision too. The amount of physical space the actors' names take up on the movie poster is known as billing, and is a major negotiation point for any actors and their representatives. As director Steven Soderbergh explained in The Hollywood Reporter, if you've got 4 people whose faces have to be the same size on a poster, you're pretty screwed. Like, you just can't make a good graphic piece of art with 4 things that have to be exactly the same size, taking up most of the space. That's just a legal thing that sort of hobbles your ability to come up with a good piece of art. Another surefire rom-com trope is the lady in red. This one dates all the way back to old Hollywood. Having a woman in a red dress prominently featured on the empty canvas draws the eye to the image. And red in color theory is a color of extremes we're trained to pay attention to from primal instincts, since it's the color of fire and blood. In movies, it can represent passion, anger, and seduction, and it's known to make our blood pressures increase. For a more in-depth look at color theory, check out our recent video on which colors make you buy. However, when it comes to dramas, we've gone decidedly darker. A software engineer named Vijay Pandurangan took the color data from over 35,000 movie posters from 1914 all the way to the present day to show that they've become a lot more dark and a lot more blue. Substantially so since 9/11, as the studios realized the craving for darker, grittier storytelling. This can be seen in the amount of movie posters that are dark and deep blue. You see it everywhere in films where they want to hype up the intensity. It's everywhere on superhero films as well, and even in dramas targeted at younger audiences. This is to cater and grandfather in older audiences who may still have those feelings that superheroes are for younger viewers, whereas they want to see dark, complicated stories. Those deep blues psychologically add importance and gravitas to the viewer and hopefully get more butts in the seats. This trend has its roots in old film noirs. Want to ramp it up even more? Have somebody running in the blue street. Studios love that on posters, guys. What are they running from? Could be a sentient cheese sandwich. You don't know, but you're curious. Admit it. Actually, excuse me a moment while I go, I gotta trademark an idea for a second. That intensity can also be represented by referencing the protagonist of a movie in silhouette, again trying to appeal to older audiences who crave seriousness and grew up on lone heroes in westerns. If you go back to older movie posters from the 60s and 70s, you'll notice that many of those posters were hand-drawn and even animated, but the iconic imagery of the films themselves featured lone gunslingers walking into town, and that's what sticks out to viewers. Showing vigilantes from the back heightens that intrigue because typically in films, you know that when a protagonist slowly turns around, they are about to face the biggest threat coming from behind them. It doesn't matter if it's a soldier somehow alone on the battlefield like in Christopher Nolan's Dunkirk, or a cute little kitty cat in Puss in Boots. Either way, you know something is about to go down, you just hope you're there to watch when somebody gets scratched. Another way to up the intensity? Literally showing the face-off between the two opposing sides. Think Captain America Civil War, Harry Potter, Anger Management, Neighbors. Might as well just show the showdown. Okay, how about psychological thrillers? Wow, where did all these creepy eyeballs and faces come from? What if you have a skeptical character that ends up making a major impact? How about just a big face with the character and a big block of text? Think The Social Network, The Martian, The Imitation Game. Blinded by the opportunity of fame? Look at the posters for Almost Famous and Nightcrawler using those sweet sunglasses to avoid the bright lights of fame. You know the movie before you see it, people. Let's lighten up the mood a bit. How about a nice comedy? Well, if it's a lower budget indie that you're more into, you'll likely be attracted to a sunnier formula. Well, hey, nothing as sunny as Little Miss Sunshine, best represented on a big yellow poster, right? It makes sense because of the sunshine, and was there a bunch of sunshine in Garden State? Or in Kiss Kiss Bang Bang? Wait a second, Joe Dirt? How did that get there? Oh man, there's a lot of these. Alright, so indies need to stand out, so I suppose the big brightness allows them to have a chance by being so different from the traditional dark blockbuster posters. There's less budget, so yellow gets them to stand out. Okay, well what if we wanted more of a raunchy comedy? Maybe you should keep an eye out for a poster of characters framed between a pair of legs. Doesn't really hide what you're getting with that movie ticket. Maybe you want a comedy that's a little classier, not as raunchy. How about if they're just a couple lying in bed? Man, that's a lot of movies to pick from. Regardless of how you feel about these looks, studios have tested them as print ads repeatedly, and people always respond to what they know. The money spent on these blockbusters now ensures that there is no reason to take chances when you're the one funding it, based on the idea that, hopefully at some point, people will pay to watch it. What is your absolute favorite movie poster? Do us a favor, tell us in the comments, subscribe for more, and give us a like, alright? Thanks all, we'll see you soon.